Hey, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Let me tell you how you can reach the show, 706-889-9700. That's how you can get in touch with us. Also, our email address is on the screen and all the ways to follow us with social media. Now, let me just set this interview up. We're going to go right into it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but let me just set this up. On December 4th, Justin McKinney was murdered in Fannin County. Okay, approximately somewhere around 12:30 a.m. All right. Also shot in the face, Anna Franklin. All right. So Justin McKinney and Anna Franklin, McKinney shot and killed. Franklin shot, sent to a trauma center, and now has a shattered jaw, and the bullet is lodged into her neck. She has been released, and she is staying at an undisclosed location with family at this time. We had an opportunity to go over and talk with Anna last night. Natalie Kissel, which you have been reading the article. She's been writing the articles, and she has a new one up. She wrote an article about the interview last night. Now charged with this murder is Blake Dickey, 15 years old, Hunter Hill, 15 years old, Dalton Manuel, 15 years old, and Lakota Cloer is party to crime of murder, 16 years old. Anna called 911 at 12:50 a.m. 911, 911, I apologize, 911 at 12:50 a.m. And these 3 felony murder charges, and I gave you the one for Lakota. Now, let me say something before we start into the interview. There's been a lot going on with social media. Social media has so many different, there's things concerning Michael Dye, there's things concerning Hunter Hill's brother, there's so many different things going on social media concerning this. It does seem to surround drugs, drug use. It does seem to surround several other laws that are being broken, it just seems to me. And it seems like this investigation is far from over. Anna asked us, you got to stay with the interview. It's 30 minutes long. You got to stay with the interview. And also pay attention to the questions I ask and Natalie asked in the interview of Anna. Anna requested that we cover her face. She still has a bandage and is struggling with a lot of pain. And she asked that we cover her face in the interview. We have done that. I will tell you there's a lot of things you will not be able to see, as though her expression when she gets emotional and the facial expressions. And I'm going to share with you a lot of questions I ask. The answers are, to me, some of the answers are in the facial expression. Just that's to me, and that's an opinion, obviously. I can't be sure on that. So we do cover the face, which will make some things difficult. Before we start, I want to give you an apology. No disrespect to cat lovers, but I've been fighting a cold, and there was a couple cats there, and I'm allergic to cats. So if you hear a sniffle or two, or maybe some breathing in the background, my sincere apology. But this is our interview with Anna Franklin. She is the one. She is the second one, the attempted murder of her. She was shot point blank, and this may answer a lot of questions. But when we get done, stay with me after the interview, because I'm going to tell you some things I think are next in this case, or maybe should be. So let's go to the interview I had last night with Anna Franklin. Anna Franklin, December 4th. Four young men. I think 4 young men. Blake Dickey, also known as Blake Dye, Hunter Hill, 15, Lakota Cloer, Dalton Levi Manuel. I don't know how many entered your home, But why don't you tell us what happened, just in your words? Why don't you tell us what happened on the morning of December 4th?
Me and Justin were about to go to bed, and Blake and Hunter started banging on the door. He let them in, and him and the boys were just talking for a while. There was no argument or nothing. I was looking at my phone.
How long were they there?
Maybe 15 minutes.
Before things happened?
Yeah.
Okay, so they knocked on the door. You let them in.
He did.
He did. He let them in, and they were talking. Were you in the same room listening to the conversation?
I was in the same room, but I wasn't paying attention to what they said.
What happened in that 15 minutes? What was that like?
Well, Justin went to check on the fire, and Blake was standing by the door, and Hunter was closer to me. And then while I was looking at my phone, it was the first shot, and I thought it might have been something in the fire, but then there was another shot, and I knew what the sound was, and I covered my face, and there was 2 more shots, but I don't know which one hit me.
Okay, now, do you know, now you said you were looking at your phone?
Yes.
That's what you were looking at your phone, so you went over, he went over to the fire?
Yes.
And you don't remember any of the 15 minutes they were there, of what the conversation was with them? I'm gonna ask you, who pulled the trigger? Do you remember who pulled the trigger?
I can't really say that because I didn't see them pull the trigger.
So when you pulled your arm up to cover your face, you didn't see who had the gun?
No, I didn't have time to look.
When did you realize that somebody was going to shoot at you? I mean, what happened? Explain what it was. Did you look over and see Justin already shot and then realize somebody was shooting at you? I mean, explain how that.
I wasn't sure if they would shoot at me, but after the second shot, I looked over toward him, and he wasn't where he was. But I didn't know if they were going to shoot at me or not. I just covered my face because I was scared, and I knew what the sound was.
You called 911, correct? I mean, you covered your face.
Yeah.
They shot at you. Did they run? What happened? Did they run?
Yes. Before I put my arm back down, they ran out the door. I know I heard Hunter yell at Blake. But then after they left, I put my arm back down, and the front door was wide open, and they were gone.
You heard Hunter yell at Blake. Do you remember what he yelled, or
His name?
he just yelled for him to, like, leave, let's go?
Yeah.
Did they know at that time, before that, when they left, when they were leaving, did you? I know you're shot and you're hurting. Did you know at that time that did they feel that Justin was dead before they left? That they had murdered him? Do you think that they knew that, and did they know if you were okay or not?
I don't know if they thought I was okay or not, because they aimed at both our heads.
So they didn't check Justin before he left. They just shot at him, shot at you, and then took off.
Yes.
Man, what do you think the motive is here?
That's something I can't figure out.
Did they come over quite often?
No.
They didn't come. Well,
We
look,
knew who they were. But
you knew who they were?
They hardly ever came over.
But you called 911, correct?
Yes.
Who was the third person in the house, in the back room? Who was that?
It was an old man that we were taking care of.
You were taking care of. You mind giving me his name, or?
Donald.
How long did he live with you?
maybe a year.
I know this is very emotional for you. Tell me a little bit about you and Justin, your relationship. How long were the two of you together?
6 years.
6 years. Now, was this at your house? Is this actually your house where this took place?
Yes.
So you ran over in the email you sent me. You ran over and checked Justin before you called 911. Checked on him. Did you ever see the other two, Lakota Cloer or whatever, however his name is pronounced, in Dalton Manuel? Did you ever see the other two involved that are charged? So you didn't know there was 4 at any time?
No.
What it says in the police report that you called 911. They received a call at 12:50 a.m. right at 1 o'clock in the morning. Why would these boys show up at your house if they didn't come over that often? Why would somebody show up at 12:30 in the morning and knock on the door and you let them in?
What they said when they first came in was that they had to jump out of someone's car and run. But they didn't say why or who.
So you didn't but they never came over before? I mean, they weren't regular stopping by the house?
They had been there, but no, not regularly.
What about, now, how are you? And I want to apologize for not, how are you? I apologize for not starting that way. How are you? What is your injuries? How are your wounds?
I have a hole right above my elbow and a hole right here. And there's a hole here where it went in and hit my jaw and shattered it. And the bullet's still in my neck.
Were they not able to remove it, or they're not going to be able to remove it, or you don't know?
Well, they told me when I was at the hospital that it would cause more damage if they did.
It would cause more damage?
I can't feel most of my bottom lip and my chin.
When 911 came out, when the law enforcement came out and they interviewed you, since this has happened, how many other interviews have they done with you, and other questions, and maybe asked you questions about the motive of that night?
I haven't heard from any of them since I left the hospital.
They did come over to the hospital and interview you, but since you left the hospital, you haven't heard from anybody in law enforcement?
No.
There's been a lot on social media, and that's why I want to give you an opportunity. There's been a lot on social media and that surrounds drugs. And I mean, was Justin McKinney, was he involved in drugs? I guess I asked you point blank.
Not what everybody keeps talking about. He smoked pot. He had nothing to do with meth or coke or anything like that. He was very against it.
So the social media, and that's what want to give you an opportunity tonight, the social media that's going around, that meth and selling meth, you're saying that's not true, Justin was not?
Absolutely not.
But marijuana possibly?
Yes.
Did these boys ever stop by and like smoke marijuana with him or something?
No, not him, no.
Somebody said to me, I'm getting a lot of phone calls, and Natalie and I have been watching all the social media, and I know you have too. There was one comment on social media that these guys would come by and smoke weed, that's the quote, with Justin.
No, not them.
Not them? What about the other thing on social media where Hunter Hill, and there's not a claim by him because we've not talked to him, but a claim that Justin sold him his brother some bad drugs? I don't know if have you heard that going around?
I've heard it from somebody, but I can't remember who, but yeah, that's ridiculous.
So there's
His brother might have had something, but it was not from Justin.
So let me see. I'm trying to put this together. So these two boys show up. They're there for 20 minutes. That's Blake Dickey and Hunter Hill. You never seen Lakota or Dalton, the other two, but these two show up, knock on the door, said they had to get out of a car, jump from a car and run. They stay in there 15 minutes. They pull a gun. They shoot Justin. You don't hear any of the conversation for 15 minutes of what they're talking about. They shoot Justin. You said you heard 2 shots.
I heard 4 in all.
4 in all, point blank. You turn and you cover your face up because they're going to go after you. And you can't tell me tonight that you don't know any reason why these 2 boys would just stop by your house that night and decide that he wanted to try to kill both of you. Because, I mean,
No.
I'm sorry to be like that, but that was their intent, right?
It had to be because they aimed at both our heads.
Right.
But no, I would have never expected them two to do anything like that.
Was Justin friends with Blake's dad? Blake's dad,
Michael.
Michael Dye.
Yeah.
He was friends with his dad. Michael Dye.
Well, I mean,
Did Michael come by
we knew
very
him.
often? I'm sorry, Anna.
No, we knew him, but he might have come there twice when we were there.
Natalie, do you have anything as far as some of the things we've been discussing that comes to mind?
Well, one thing, and going back to the social media and of course rumor mill all around, what would you like to get out about Justin? Obviously he was someone special to you. Is there anything that you would like for people to know?
Take your time.
Just what they're saying about them drugs is not true. He was very against anything that would hurt somebody like that. And he was everything to me. He made sure that I was okay. He had a very good heart.
How long do you think? How close was he with Michael Dye? I'm sorry, Anna. Take your time.
Not very. He lived on the same road and they had known each other since before I got with Justin. But he wasn't close to him.
But he did know, like, you know, if you come to my door at, you know, if you come to my door at 1 o'clock in the morning or 12:15 in the morning and you knock on the door, I might crack the door open and say, what do you want? But you did know, both of you did know these 2 boys enough to open the door and let them in.
Yes.
And you still, and don't take this wrong because I know you're under, the reason I continue to ask, and I'm not trying to upset you, the reason I continue to ask because I know you're in a lot of pain and you're going through a lot right now, but you can't just come through your mind in any way whatsoever and remember anything that they were talking about for 15 minutes. What?
No. I tried and no, I just was not paying attention.
So you don't know why they had to run from somebody's car?
No.
You didn't, and obviously you didn't see them with a gun in their pocket, or where did you see the gun come from?
I didn't see the gun. I didn't see any gun come out.
You just heard the shots?
Yeah.
And I asked this once, not trying to upset you, put pressure, okay, I promise, but so you don't remember who pulled the trigger?
No. I can't say because I did not see who did.
You didn't see who pulled the trigger, and who yelled? The one guy yelled for Blake.
Hunter.
Hunter yelled for Blake to get out of there.
I heard him yell his name. Yeah.
Yell his name, and you've never seen a gun in either of their hand or anything like that.
No.
They didn't leave the gun behind. They took it with them.
As far as I know, I didn't see any gun.
What about the? And I'm trying to make sure we cover everything to give you every opportunity, because again, social media is just not. To me, it's not fair. People can just go in there and write things, and you should get an opportunity to answer anything. You said no to methamphetamines. Okay, you said yes to weed. What about pills?
No.
No. Justin didn't sell pills to anybody.
No. He was pretty much just a big hippie, and he didn't have nothing to do with any of that.
And why these two 15-year-old kids just showed up at your house that time of the morning, you don't know.
No. I mean, like I said, we never would expect anything like that from them. And them knocking on the door, and of course he let them in because we would not have expected that.
One of the things being said on social media was that they came in as a robbery. But the way you're describing it, you don't think that they took anything or was looking for anything?
I don't think they had time to get anything.
Yeah.
But they were about 15 minutes. Justin did let them in. They did sit in, I guess, the living room or wherever you were at. They talked. You didn't pay attention to what they were talking about. And then you thought it was a fire. Just tell me that one more time. Did Justin get up and go to the fireplace or something? Or
Yes, he was making sure the fire was still going because we were about to go to bed.
and where was he sitting and where were you sitting? Like, I mean, how close? Like where we're sitting here, was he sitting in a chair? You sitting here and they sitting here, or
When it happened, they started shooting.
Yeah.
me.
like when they were talking in the living room? I can understand because I'll get my phone and I could be across the room with a bunch of people and I don't even know what other people are saying, so I could understand that. But where was everybody in the room? If you can help me with that.
I was sitting on a love seat on the right side. Hunter was in front of me. Blake was on the other side of him by the door. Justin was like in front of Blake where it's not a fireplace, it's one of those big old stoves. But Justin was there.
So you're basically sitting back and forth from each other? So where you're sitting, like you could see
Hunter
me
and
now?
Blake weren't sitting, they were standing.
They were standing.
Yeah.
So where you're sitting talking to me, were you in the same direction of them?
Yes.
So you could see them, but you were looking down at your phone?
Yes.
So you didn't see who pulled the gun?
No.
How far apart were you from them? 10 feet? 15 feet? I mean, how big a room is it?
I wasn't that far from Hunter. Maybe 2 or 3 feet.
Because I mean, and the reason I ask is I think, and I can understand what you being in the pain and going through this trauma here. That some of this is just maybe a flash of memory to you, but I think it would be helpful for you and everybody if you could remember any of that. And that's the only reason I continue to ask. I think it could be helpful if you could remember
I
that.
wish I could. But I don't.
Is there anything you've heard on social media or anything you've heard about this story that you in your words want to correct? Anything that you've heard that's happened in court, anything that you've heard that's been said, anything at all out there that in your words you want to correct?
All I've heard about is the rumor about the drugs because I don't have very good internet here. And there's no TV. So that's the only thing that I want people to know is not right. He had nothing to do with that.
Do you know if they ever smoked weed together? It's the only way it's the only way.
No, not him and Hunter and Blake, no.
No, but what about Blake's dad?
Probably.
Probably, and that would be Michael Dye. They may have smoked some weed together.
Yeah.
Because here's exactly, and if you're done, because like I said, I don't want too much pressure on you, and I appreciate you sitting down and opening up with us, and if you want us to come back, if there's more things you want to talk about later, we'll be glad to do it. But I'm pretty candid where when I hear something, I'm going to be direct with you.
Yeah.
Somebody called me up and said, here's what happened. And I'm not saying it did, but somebody called me up and said, Blake and Hunter always stopped and smoked weed with Justin. They stopped that night to smoke weed with Justin. Justin got mad and said, you guys can't just stop and smoke weed. You have to start paying for it. And they got angry.
Stupid.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm not telling you it's true.
I'm sorry.
That's a no. I'm so sorry, but I'm just trying to share with you all the things that are out there and give you the opportunity to clear any of that up. And I'm so sorry, but I'm going to be honest and direct with you. That's.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because they said, well, Hunter and Blake would stop, smoke weed with Justin, and Justin, what was told to me, he sold weed, and he told him, you're not going to stop, just knock on the door and smoke weed for free, you got to start paying for it. And that's, like I said, I think all of us know, if you've been following the internet, a lot of stuff is out there, and that's why I'm giving you opportunity. So there's nothing like that whatsoever?
No, he didn't smoke with Hunter and Blake, and he did not get mad that night. There was no, all they did is talk. If somebody had raised their voice, I would have looked up and paid attention.
Did
It
they
was just talking?
seem upset when they came to the door because they were saying that they had to jump out of a car?
Honestly, no, not really.
They were pretty calm.
So you still don't know the motive. You can't stop and think for 1 minute why these boys would come and want to harm you. Okay?
No. Hunter and Blake always seem like calm, good kids to me. And it does not make sense, but all I can say is what happened that I know.
Do you think they were out looking for weed and they knew Justin might have had some and was going to steal it?
Possibly, yeah.
You think they possibly were going to rob him of his drugs? And I'll say weed. I won't say pills, and I won't say meth. Okay, I respect that. But we have talked about marijuana. So do you think it's possible that and I'm just saying this, it's just the way I am, 4 15-year-old kids out after midnight, had no business out after midnight, said, hey, we need some weed. I know where we can get some. Let's go by and get Justin's weed. I don't know.
That does make sense.
It does?
It does.
Okay, and they stop. 2 of them are in the car. They wait outside. 2 of them come to the door, knowing Justin knows them and will let them in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 2 come and they know Justin will let them in, and they know Justin will get comfortable with them. They know you'll get comfortable with them and not pay attention. You're over here on your phone, which that all makes sense. So you're comfortable with them. You're not afraid of them. You know them, right?
Right.
So you're comfortable. Justin's comfortable with them, all right? And then the 2 that are down the road or wherever, I don't know the details of where the 2 are that you never seen, but the 2 down the road are waiting, and supposedly maybe a robbery gone bad, or they shoot Justin and they're going to steal his weed stash and hook up with the other 2 and get out of there. I mean, anything like that sound?
It does make sense. I mean, I can't say, yes, that's what it was, or no, it's not, because I don't know what the reason was.
But it could make sense that maybe they knew, maybe they were there to rob him.
They could have been.
I just want to look at my notes. Do you know why, would you have any idea why the court sent which one, Dickey, for a blood test?
Oh, no, I don't know why.
Because the court ordered him for a blood test, and I don't know. I mean, speculation is, and some things again in the social media world, that maybe Dickey was high or intoxicated or something that night. But I do know the court sent him for a blood test. You don't know, you wouldn't know why. You Do you remember if he seemed to be high or something, or he wasn't getting high there? Are you saying?
No,
Okay.
but Blake had always been real quiet,
Okay.
so I couldn't tell if he might have been on something or not.
How did you all know Blake and Hunter?
Through their dads.
They're their dads. You all were friends with their dads and got to know them.
Yeah, when we first moved around Blue Ridge in a different house than that, all the Hill brothers used to come over and help Justin with his animals. He had a lot of animals, and they would help him feed them and clean their cages and everything.
So when you say the Hill brothers, so Hunter Hill's dad and Mike and Blake Dye's dad, or Blake Dickey, Blake Dye, both of their dads, I'll say, did they hung out with Justin?
Yeah,
Okay, so he knew both of their dads real well.
yeah,
So it's just would if you know both their dads real well and the kids show up at the door, you know their dads, and so you're familiar enough with them. Is that what is would that be correct?
yeah.
By association with the dads. I asked you earlier if you thought that Michael Dye and maybe Justin smoked some weed together. What about Hunter Hill's dad? Did he smoke some weed with Justin?
More than likely, probably, yeah.
Probably. All right. Have you been in contact with Justin's family?
Yes.
How are they doing?
They're dealing with this and a lot more right now.
Maybe. What's a lot more, if you don't mind?
It's not my business to say.
Okay. But it surrounds this case?
No.
Okay. And you and Justin been together 6 years, did you say earlier?
Yes.
6 years? And this is your house, or your house where this took place?
Yes.
And this is out in Morganton?
Yes.
Now, have you lived there 6 years or longer than 6 years out there?
No, my dad passed away, I think, 2 years ago now. And me and my brother inherited that place.
So you and Justin your brother been living there too, or just you?
No.
But you and Justin been living out there since your dad passed away?
Yeah.
Natalie, I really can't think. And you don't know the other two boys, or you just hear?
They look familiar, but I don't know them.
All right, so you don't know what's his name? Say his
Cloer.
Cloer,
Yeah, I don't know.
Cloer,
Lakota.
and Manuel. Dalton Levi Manuel. You don't know him, or a dad, or
No.
family. Okay, and Lakota Ricky Cloer. You don't know him. Okay, and they never came in the house.
No.
Allegedly, they're the two boys that Blake and Hunter said dropped them off.
I guess so.
They jumped out of a car and had to take off. You didn't know their names, but you knew they were in a car, and when they came in your house, you knew that they had taken off out of a car, jumped out of a car, so you knew there was someone else out there or not.
There wasn't no car that came to the house. They had to have walked there from somewhere.
How far down the road is it? Is there somewhere they could park and turn the lights off and walk down the road and you not be aware of it, or?
Yeah, it's a pretty steep driveway.
All right.
Dirt.
Is there anything tonight that we've talked about, asked you, that you want to clarify, you want to add more to it? Is there anything we didn't ask you tonight that you make sure you want people to know out there? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Not that I can think of.
Natalie, you have anything else?
Not that.
Anna, we appreciate it. We thank you for your time. We will come back out. All you got to do is let us know. We'll come out and talk to you as maybe some things come back to memory and you continue to, heal. We appreciate you taking this time. And again, we hope you heal up real soon and you get to feeling better. And we will come out if, some of the questions I've asked tonight, maybe it could get you to thinking a little bit. And if you want to share some things to be helpful to get your side out, we'll be glad to come out and see you again, okay?
Okay.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much, Anna. Okay, we're back. I'm your host, BKP, and you've been watching an interview with Anna Franklin. Okay, Justin McKinney was murdered in her home. It's Anna's home where they lived out in Morganton. Justin McKinney murdered on December 4th, and an attempt on her life at the same time. Blake Dickey, a.k.a. Blake Dye, 15 years old. Hunter Hill, 15 years old. And Dalton Levi Manuel, 15 years old, have been charged with felony murder. In this case, Lakota Cloer, 16, which we speculate is the driver, that night, party to crime of murder, has been charged. So at 12:50 a.m. Now, my question is, at 12:50 a.m., who's knocking on your door? At 12:50 a.m., who do you expect? Now, that's when the 911 call came in, so let me clear that up. So around 12:15, they were there 15 minutes before this happened. Call comes in at 12:50 a.m. But at 12:15 in the morning, who knocks on your door? At 12:15, who knocks on your door that you know well enough to say, come on in? At 12:15 in the morning, who knocks on your door that you say know well enough to say, come in and stay and talk? There's a lot more surrounding this, and there's a lot more to investigate other than a murder. And my hope is in the next 2 or 3 days, we're able to bring you some new information concerning this case. But the concern I have with many of you out there is there not just the murder, not just the attempted murder, but other things that surround this case that need to be looked at in Fannin County. So my hope is, if my suspicions, that's the word I'm going to use, are true, my hope is there are several more arrests made that maybe don't completely connect to murder before this is over. So I'm your host, BKP. I want to thank Natalie Kissel, done an outstanding job. You go to FetcherNews.com. Natalie has written an article from last night's interview, so you can read her article, and you can read all the other articles and see the first appearances in court. We do understand that charges on the attempted murder of Anna Franklin are on their way, but there's some other things also out there that my speculation is being reviewed, and my hope surrounding this case, okay, of the murder of Justin McKinney. Three 15-year-old boys and a 16-year-old boy at 12:15 a.m. that should have been in school the next day. By the way, went to school the next day. So, that being said, there's a lot going on. If you have information in this case, if you've watched this interview, if you would like for Natalie and I to come sit down with you, if you would like to contact us, if you feel you have information that in this case, you can contact us, 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700, chief at FetcherNews.com, right there. And there are all the ways you can contact us and get in touch with us on social media. Why, for some reason, do I feel like Nancy Grace right now or something? But anyhow, I'm your host, BKP. We're going to take a brief break. You got all the ways you can contact us. That is a 24-hour news tip line that stays right here. So if you want to talk to us, you can text me, you can call, email, and if you have any information concerning this. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. And when we return, stress, conflict. What are some of the things you're dealing with through the holiday season at this time? We'll be back right after this with Dr. David Markwell at Ridgeline Counseling. You don't want to miss our next segment coming up. Take us to break, Josh.